Okay, Bonnie, you know what order everybody comes in.
Good evening, Democrats and independents and a few Republicans. I am so excited to be here tonight. I'm just a first-time candidate, a fourth-generation San Diegan. I've lived in the district my entire life. This is a seat we have to have in 2018. This is a must-win seat. But let me tell you a little about me, because some of you know me and some of you don't.
Who are you?
I'm Glenn Jensen. Thank you. I'm a devoted husband. I've been married almost 40 years to the same woman. I've raised my 3 children right here in the district. I've been a successful businessman. I'm respected by my bosses, my colleagues, my clients, and in fact, many of my competitors. I'm absolutely committed to this district, and that's why I chose to run. There are lots of reasons. All of the candidates will share those with you tonight. But I live here. I care about this district. I care about my friends and neighbors. Our district deserves bold, responsive, and ethical leadership. That's pretty obvious after you heard about vote his ass out. I will be a champion to fight corruption. I have nothing to prove other than to take out the corruptors. It's time for a positive change, however, and as a businessman, I'm also a former Republican, and now I'm a devout Democrat. I have the experience, the knowledge, and the character to represent you the way you deserve. I'm a regular Joe. I'm just like all of you. I just chose to run. As I said a second ago, I'm a reformed Republican. I grew up in a working class Republican family right here in the district. I understand their philosophy, and I understand the people that attach it. The reason why I'm running today is that I've had this lifelong burning desire to serve my district at the federal level. Now I'm at the end of my career. There's no secret. I'm an older guy. I'm at the end of my career. I have the energy, the time, and now I have the experience and skill set, I think, to be successful here. Now, how have I been successful in my personal life and my business life? I've worked in an establishment and in an environment where I've created cooperation and coalitions. And in fact, in many times, I've worked with my competitors, we might call them Republicans, to build cooperation to come up with some unique ideas and strategies to help solve our customers' problems. In my case, I happen to work with the Department of Defense. I deeply believe in people in this country and in this community, obviously. I understand the Constitution. I've worked on several pieces of legislation over the course of my life, so I understand how that's done, and it's an arduous process. I think I can succeed, and I think many of my candidate hopefuls can as well, because we can build consensus not only with the Democrats, but also with Republicans and independents. And in order to win this election, we're going to have some of those moderate Republicans and a whole lot of independents to come join us. Part of it is I think I can be transpolitical. I can take the best ideas that the Republicans have and the Democrats and everyone in the district, obviously, and work towards some legislative action that works for all of us. Let me share with you a couple ideas that I have for the platform, and there should be no surprises. I consider myself pretty progressive. Number one, we have to protect Medicare, Medicaid, and Social Security. As an older individual, as a person that's concerned about our social safety net, it is under assault, make no mistake, and all of you are educated, you know that. I think, and by the way, education is the #1 business in San Diego County, believe it or not. If you add up all of the schools and all of the colleges and everything we do, I think we have to have affordable education. And it has to be public, and it has to be tuition-free or tuition subsidized. I'm living proof that it works. I graduated from UCSD with a degree in economics and 0 debt. What are we at? I have 1 minute left? Okay, that's good. Then let me jump to healthcare. I had a son with cystic fibrosis. I know some of the areas of improvement that we have to do in terms of doing that. And with minor changes and tweaks to the ACA, we can get there. Obviously, we need to worry about the safety and security of our district. That includes things like more cops on the beat, after-school programs, and the like. Everything that I've done, everything that's part of my life has been done in this district. I know, as I said before, several of you are my friends, new acquaintances. I care about this district. I've been a Little League coach. I've worked in AmeriCorps during the Edwards campaign. been a fundraiser, I'm a blood donor. I care about this district. And what drives me to go after Hunter, or any Republican, is that we can do better. Your lives matter, and I'm the guy to do it. Thanks.
We'll be asking you questions afterwards, okay? Next candidate.
How about they stay up there so we can see them?
Or I could walk up here. Okay. So, hi everybody. Good evening. My name is Amar Kampa Najjar. I'm running for Congress. It's a long name, I know. You can thank that lady over there. That's my mom. She thought it'd be funny to give me a name that rhymes, Amar Najjar. It worked great in middle school. It was amazing. And it's good to remember. It's easy to memorize. But I'm running for Congress, and the reason I'm running is because of the people in this room. Many of them who helped raise me and make me the man I am today. I'm talking about my mom and my aunt, and even Andrea Beth over there, who I met 5 years ago. I'm running for the people who taught me and educated me in this district. I'm running for the progressives who've been fighting the good fight longer than I've been alive. And I know I drink deeply from the wells of opportunity that I did not dig myself. I know you guys have been working at this longer than I've been alive. And I stand here today declaring proudly that I'm running for Congress as a Hispanic, Arab, American in the Trump era. And if you want to send a message to Washington, that's one hell of a message. And I'm running because before all of us felt the burn, before all of us felt stronger together, all of us united progressives, we felt, and say it with me, this man's message. Fired up and ready to go. That's right, and we sent a message that resonated beyond this district. We lifted the lives of people across the country. And Andrea Beth could attest to that. We turned out votes in Nevada, and Colorado, and Ohio. And we sent a resounding message, even to Washington and the White House. And I remember one time I was sitting down in the office when I was the field director, and somebody from the White House called and said, what you guys are doing in that district is remarkable. And if we win, we'd like to have you come and serve at the White House. I hung up. I thought it was just someone made it up. I was like, I'm trying to run a campaign here. I'm not trying to get distracted. But they called back and it was real. That dream of mine to go serve in Washington was made real because of all of you. You all helped me achieve my dreams, and I'm coming back and giving back and trying to fight for your dreams. That's what I'm doing here tonight. And if you take a chance on me like you did in 2012, I will not let you down. This district deserves better and is better than Duncan Hunter Jr. Plain and simple. But we can't just talk about how bad Duncan Hunter is. This is not just being against Duncan Hunter. I'm running not just against him, I'm running for all of you. And I want to make sure that we can all feel that our best days are ahead of us. And you all kept me humble. And I didn't become jaded when I was in DC for those 5 years. I'd come back every month and hear about what's going on in your lives. And then I'd go to Washington and I'd read hundreds of your stories, that 10 of which would go a day to the president. And we'd hear about the things that wake you up every morning and keep you up at night. I read stories about people who said, older people who said, am I one illness away from losing my home? I got a letter from a veteran who said, I'm sorry if you can't read my handwriting. I usually type. But I had to sell my computer to get my medicine this month. And I saw the tear stains on that letter. And I heard stories about mothers who said, I don't want to look at my kid one more birthday and say, I can't be there because I have to work overtime to put food on the table and clothes on your back. And when I heard stories like that, that wasn't anybody else's mom. That was my mom sitting right there, who through a divorce, a single mother, a broken heart, being broke, working in a hospital as a receptionist, in her 50s, going to apply to work at a Walmart, and eventually making it in real estate, that she showed me that you could dust yourself off, and you could start again. And that there's dignity in a hard day's work, and your work doesn't just define you, but it reveals you. Your work reveals you. And Duncan Hunter's work reveals him. That's right. And while he was out there spending people's donors' money and bringing national shame to us by spending money on vacations and jewelry and video games and bunnies, which would be funny if it wasn't so sad, let me tell you what I've done. I was in the Obama White House fighting for your health care. I was working at the U.S. Hispanic Chamber of Commerce, helping small businesses flourish. I was at the Department of Labor, trying to make sure that the American worker could punch their ticket to the middle class. And I was out there helping deported veterans who have been honorably discharged not get dishonorably deported. That's what I did. And if you take a chance on me again, like you sent me to Washington 5 years ago, I won't let you down. I'll make you proud, like I hope I have. And I'll keep representing you and make this district proud. Thank you.
We're a little tight up here, so I'm just going to stay right here. Good evening. My name is Hannah Bay. I'm an organic farmer, an environmental scientist, a nonprofit founder, a wife to a disabled veteran, and a proud mother. I'm running for Congress because our constituents deserve an ethical candidate and representative with the experience required to solve the wide variety of issues facing our complex district. I have that experience. And I appreciate you all taking the time today to allow me to introduce myself to you and discuss what I will bring to the 50th District. I grew up in the Deep South. You may have heard of my hometown congressional district. It is the same one both Newt Gingrich and Jon Ossoff are call home. As a lifelong progressive who was raised in the Bible Belt of America, I have the experience needed to communicate effectively with our historically red district, and I will win the support of these voters. Understanding the world is large and diversity is important, I left Georgia to attend the University of Michigan, where I obtained a degree in environmental science with a minor in global climate change. 15 years ago, I was organizing an international conference examining the relationship between climate change and environmental justice. Today, I'm very saddened that our nation's taken a step back with regards to environmental policy. However, I have enough experience working with conservative Republicans and land use developers to not be surprised. I also have the experience required to put forth the tangible solutions that will address our environmental crises while being accepted by both parties. Between Michigan and San Diego, I spent time consulting for the Environmental Protection Agency in Washington, D.C., the Bureau of Indian Affairs in Washington, D.C., working with the Oglala Sioux Tribe on the Pine Ridge Indian Reservation in South Dakota. And for the past decade here in San Diego County, I've worked as an environmental scientist, specializing in permitting complex land use developments in compliance with local, federal, and state laws. I also own a first-generation family farm in Hamul. I hold a leadership position on the San Diego County Farm Bureau, and I manage the Rancho San Diego Farmers Market. San Diego has more small farms than any other county in the nation, and Temecula has hundreds of first-class wine growers. I've got the dirt of this district under my nails, and I understand the needs of these hard-working families, whom serve as not only the employment hubs, but the community centers of the 50th District. Recently, I had the honor of being elected to the Hamul Desert Planning Group. I have first-hand experience hearing and resolving the concerns of the residents of Escondido, Palo, Palma, Ramona, Fallbrook, Borrego Springs, North County Metro, Temecula, North Mountain, Julian, Desert Empire, and more. I know what it is like to be a political minority entrenched in Republican territory, and I have acquired the skills it takes to heal a fractured constituency. In my spare time, I founded a nonprofit based in El Cajon that provides food, clothing, shelter, health, and education to poor, distressed, and disadvantaged individuals. Giving back has always been a driving force in my life, and I've worked hard to take action, to speak for the voiceless, to provide services for those in need, to educate our children, and to improve our local community. What will my campaign bring to the 50th District? High-paying jobs, support for agriculture and small businesses, and commitment to the needs of the men and women in our armed forces. When the economy collapsed in 2007, I was working 2 jobs to make ends meet. Myself and hundreds of my coworkers were spared layoffs when our federal government invested millions of dollars in our local infrastructure. We are facing a jobs crisis in our rural district, and investing in our infrastructure and housing will provide the solutions we need. As a farmer and a small business owner, I've taken the actions required to become known in this tight-knit community as a champion for rural interests. I understand the struggles of our local producers and small businesses because I am going through these struggles personally. Our farmers and small businesses are required to comply with a regulatory framework that fosters corporate greed over community need. I will propose common sense solutions that ensure farmers and small businesses profit in a manner where they can provide a living wage. My husband, Manna, who is a disabled Navy veteran, he served 7 years and was deployed 3 times to the Middle East. Manna was born in Liberia, West Africa, where a civil war broke out when he was 10 years old. His family fled to the country of Ghana, where he lived in a refugee camp for 10 years. The United States of America offered his family a religious visa to flee poverty in a violent war, and when he came to the United States, serving in the Navy earned him citizenship and a path to the American dream. I will stand up for the deportation of veterans. I will increase member health services, family support, and make sure any veteran who struggles to find work or housing is not abandoned by this country. My name is Hannah Bay, and I have the experience to represent the 50th District. Thank you for your time.
Good evening, my name is Josh Butner. First, I want to thank all of you for being here. Your presence here is what makes our country so great and supporting democracy. And I want to thank everybody at the table. The variety and all of the voices make our party stronger as well as our country stronger, so thank you. But I personally am running for Congress because I have an intense obligation to serve. I come from a long line of family members that wore the uniform dating all the way back to the Civil War. I grew up with the ideals of service, country, leadership, and liberty instilled in me, and that's why I joined the SEAL teams and served in the United States Navy for 23 years. Thank you very much. Although I have packed away my uniform and packed away my sword in my sea chest and donned civilian clothes and picked up a pen, like the father of our Navy, John Paul Jones, I have not yet begun to fight. In 2011, I retired only because, as a lieutenant commander, only because I wanted to see my children more than I had in the past. And now I have one that has joined the Navy himself. My middle son has graduated from film school, and my daughter's still attending the University of California, Santa Cruz, double majoring in philosophy and poetry. I love it. Yeah, I got one, thank you. But my country has given me so much that I feel I can't possibly give back enough. And up to this point, the excellent public education that I've received, the outstanding military training, the world-class business experience that I've had, the opportunity to participate in self-government on the Humboldt School Board, and having been elected as a trustee, the opportunity to support and defend public education, which I feel is under attack. All of these things have made me feel, have obligated me to feel that I should serve in a greater capacity, and so that's what I'm doing. When you have friends that have given their lives for their country like I have, you realize that any service that you can provide or any sacrifice that you can make just feels somewhat inadequate. And now I'm just trying to live my life in a manner that would make my fallen brothers proud. And that's why I'm running for Congress in California's 50th District. And that's why I believe that it's time to put honesty and integrity and fundamental values of hard work back into Washington. And we need to put people first, not personal profit, and not special interest politics. I'm just running to serve. My name is Josh Butner.
Good evening, Democrats, Independents, Republicans. My name is Patrick Malloy, and I'm running for United States House of Representatives in California's 50th Congressional District. I'm the Dem who ran before in the last election and received more votes and a bigger percentage of the available votes than any other candidate has in this district since the redistricting. 7 months ago, I ran alongside 5 other qualified challengers, including a write-in candidate. and earned the right to face the incumbent in the general election, where I brought you within 13.5 points of the win. I've been awarded the California State Democratic Party's endorsement, and as stated by our very own Francine Busby, there is no better training than having been a candidate in a race already, and I'm the only one up here who can say that I have. I can bring you the win. I live in Escondido with my wife, Karuna. I come from Canton, Massachusetts. I lost the accent 25 years ago when I moved out here to California. I think I did. My parents, John and Patricia Malloy, are both public school teachers. I went to American University in Washington, D.C., and I'm a local realtor. I have the ability to bridge the gap between two opposing sides. That's what real estate agents do. They find compromise. That's a great thing. Congress is sorely lacking. They need people who can get in the middle and find where both ends can meet. My parents are not wealthy. They're middle class, just like me, just like most of us. They managed to raise a family and retire, mainly because they had good health care and that didn't devour their entire disposable income. They have a pension to fall back upon. I'm running to be your representative in Washington, D.C. because the middle class needs a champion. Today's middle class is slipping away by living paycheck to paycheck, and I aim to stop that. It's just past tax season now, and all of my Republican friends are saying, it's not what you make, it's what you keep, and they're boasting about their CPA. That it's not what you make, it's what you keep is a very libertarian sentiment. I'm a progressive Democrat, and when I say it's not what you make, it's what you keep, I know that I'm going to be paying my taxes. I'm happy to pay my taxes. I just want them to go where it's going to benefit my life, not overseas. For some infrastructure project over in Afghanistan, I want that money spent here in my district. I want that to offer jobs to vets and locals here, where we live, in other districts throughout the United States. Well, I stand for single-payer health care for all. Please let me repeat that. Single-payer health care for all does not include the word insurance. This is good for you, it's good for other small business owners. It makes a healthier and wealthier middle class with more disposable income to spend at your store, to spend around your district. I stand for immigration reform. I will reintroduce a reset on immigration for undocumented immigrants with a temporary make it right with the system window. It's about time that we treat our neighbors the way that we were treated, our grandparents were treated when they came over to this fine country as well. I stand for infrastructure jobs right here in our district. We are blowing billions of dollars overseas on infrastructure projects that don't make sense to our district. You know, we are at each other's throats the world over for oil. It's time to start making oil obsolete. And with the problems associated with making oil become a thing of the past. Now that is progressive. Sunlight is the best disinfectant, especially for oil. Solar power is on the rise and offers more jobs than coal. We have a chance to create jobs in our district focusing on being a better steward of our own national resources, like clean air and clean water and taking care of the planet while doing so. I stand for public funds for public education, including vocational training. My name is Patrick Malloy, and I have the ability to bring two sides together towards one common goal. And I'm running for United States House of Representatives in your district. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Gloria Chadwick, and I am the nurse that confronted Duncan Hunter at his one and only town hall meeting. I want you to know that I had gone to the Women's March in Washington, D.C. I came back and read the Union Tribune report about a scandalous, corrupt congressman, and I just couldn't stand it. And I thought, we have to change this. There has to be a change. But why me? My husband and I are native San Diegans. We have 2 children, and we've all been members of various unions. And my heritage, well, I'm Norwegian, Irish, and Mexican. And you can say that I am from immigrant stock, just like everybody else in this room. My comment about the Trump wall is we should be building bridges with our neighbors, not walls. I went to Rosemont College, and then I started working as a nurse's aide right at Santee's very own Edgemoor Hospital. Then I became a health aide, an office nurse, a school nurse, a college nurse. I was a charge nurse at the at various hospitals, and I was a lead RN. My license is active. I participate with volunteer hours when I can, and I work with various health organizations and health fairs. I stand firmly with Roe v. Wade because I had firsthand experience. I really had firsthand experience at witnessing what poor women went through, what tragedies they encountered. And on the psychiatric end, I witnessed and took care of patients that were unfortunately born into homes, unloving homes, because they were the product of incest or rape. So I understand that element. I have been elected, well, I was elected 18 years ago to the Grossmont Healthcare District. I was the first woman elected, and the district encompasses 500,000 constituents, and I've been the high vote getter each time. I've been president 5 times, and one of the times, the hospital wanted to close down pediatrics. And you have to realize that our pediatric unit at the Grossmont Hospital is the only pediatric unit between El Centro and Kearny Mesa. So as president, we had hearings and we voted with the public. Even though the hospital lost money, we stood with our public. And that pediatric unit today is now being run by Rady's, and the hospital is earning $1 million a year. So Sharp is the management group for the hospital. They came to the district and they asked us if we could help them out to enlarge the Grossmont emergency room. We gave them $1 million. I became president again, only to find out that the contractor that they had refused to pay prevailing wages. So we demanded that they return the money. They returned the $1 million. Unfortunately, their project did not work as planned. They were only able to finish 2 of the 5 floors and greatly overcharged for it. So they came back to the district again. And they asked us, now would we put a bond measure on? And we did. That was Prop G that all of you in this room thankfully voted for, and it would pass with a 77% approval, which is a high rate for a bond measure. However, there was a big change. Only the 5 board members, myself and the other 4 board members, were the ones to spend and disperse the $247 million. We finished projects. We developed an oversight committee to make sure that we were transparent. We had a compliance officer to check to make sure wages were paid properly. And I'm pleased to tell you that we are on time and on near budget, very close to budget. And we just completed the cogeneration plant for the hospital. The hospital is saving $186,000 a month in energy costs, and it is 90% emissions free, gas house emissions free, so greenhouse emissions. So thank you so much for voting for that project, and the hospital is doing well. And it's Gloria Chadwick for Congress.
Is this working? Hi, my name is Pierre Beauregard. My friends call me Pete. I'm running for Congress for the 50th District here in California. My motto is country before politics and country before party. A little bit about my life. Actually, I think I'm the oldest one here. But I've been a progressive activist for 50 years. When I was in Vietnam, I came back, and I was with the corpsman, a Marine corpsman with the 3rd Marine Air Wing. And when I came back in 68, or I'm sorry, not 68, but 70, I was stationed over at El Toro Marine Base, and usually what we did was drink a lot and smoke a little dope. And I'm wondering, where is my life going at this point? And so I found that there was a group of people in Huntington Beach that were trying to build a free clinic for street people. And I said, well, that's me. So I went down there, and the first thing, I walked into the door, and I had a stethoscope and a few instruments, and somebody hands me a chart. Get busy. And from that point on, it's actually history. What we did is we provided health care for the street people, and we also provided birth control counseling for a very young generation. And we also provided abortion services when it was needed and wanted. This was before Roe versus Wade, and so imagine the crap that we had to go through with a lot of protests at the clinic and also at hospitals that we took them to. After that, about 5 years later, I decided to move on and try to get an education and try to get into medical school, which I was too stupid, I couldn't do it. But what I did, it led me into an adventure of activism. And I continuously protested against the treatment of Vietnam vets and the VA, because the VA was in shambles at the time. And it went on, and I decided to join the rodeo. And I started being a bull rider for a couple of years. And after that, at the same time I was working, and I just did it because it was fun, but I also did it at an age where most bull riders are getting out of the business. I was getting into the business at 30 years old. And so when I got out of that, I started working with a group of Flying Samaritans, and I got my pilot's license, and I started going down into Mexico, and we started putting up clinics there, which was really interesting. I am the grandson of a suffragette from Fall River, Massachusetts. My grandmother, Clementine Beauregard, had broken her nose 3 times from a policeman's fist, club, and foot, each time at different times. And, it was a tough area, Fall River, Massachusetts. It was all the mills, and that's where my dad was born, and I was born down the road in Springfield, Massachusetts. So we get into the Iraq War period, where I started protesting in the streets. I went to Washington, D.C., and I lobbied Congress. And I also joined a group called Peace Alliance. And then we got back, and then I started with Occupy and lived on the streets there. But one of my main points on my platform is I want to get money out of politics. Money is the thing that is killing this country. Anytime that we have a reasonable a solution to climate change, to economy, our health care, we come with a good answer, and it's supported by the majority of Americans. Bam! What happens is that the millionaires and the billionaires and the corporations get in front of us and get to the legislators, because they have purchased the White House, they have purchased Congress, and they have purchased the road that you and I travel to go in there and try to make this country decent. And Duncan Hunter is the biggest lump in that road, and we want him out. My name is Pierre Beauregard, and I'm running for Congress in the 50th District. And come ask for this card, because when you get it, you can take it home and put it in dirt, and it will grow wildflowers. I'm going to go again.